Hope you guys enjoyed that steak. For those of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Rick Hendrick. I work at 95.1 The Fox Radio in Montgomery. Also, the voice of Riverwalk Stadium, which is the home of your Southern League North Division first half champions. We've got another half of baseball to go, and we've already won the first half, so we're already in the playoffs. So they're kind of taking some time off and enjoying the All-Star break. But we're automatically in the playoffs. If we win the second half, then whoever's in second place is who will play for the championship, or the Southern League championship. But for this first half, yeah, the Biscuits are all celebratory right now. But listen, guys, you've heard speakers before. If you've been here before, and every one of them awesome in their own way. I've looked forward to this guy for tonight because I know him personally, and I kind of know a little bit about his story, but I don't know the full story, so I think I'm going to get it tonight. But to see someone that kind of takes a business or even takes their life literally from the ground up and has become what he is today and what he's doing in the community, you will be shocked. You'll be startled, but in a good way. I've got a friend in radio that back in the day we would refer to each other as a term of endearment as, hey, that's my dog. But D-A-W-G, that's my dog, D-A-W-G. But Charles kind of took that phrase and it refers to an actual hot dog, D-O-G, that's my dog. He'll give you all of that, but you guys show some welcome to Mr. Charles Lee Sr.
Clap one time if you can hear me. Clap two times if you can hear me. All right, I'm glad, man. I feel all fancy. They got like high-tech stuff right here. You know, I ain't used to this, man. I thought I was gonna have to like hold the microphone and that just give me phobia. But hey, give y'all stuff a round of applause, man. Y'all look really good. Like this is what the men's section in heaven should look like. Just a diverse group of just different colors, different ages, different races, man. This is what our country looked like, and I wish more people could see this instead of the division. But I ain't gonna be before y'all long. I'm full too, and I know y'all all getting sleepy like me, so I'm gonna make this quick. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Both of my parents were addicted to crack. In fact, I was a crack baby. I was a premature baby, came out weighing 2 pounds, 3 ounces. I know y'all can't tell because of these muscles and stuff, but that was definitely the case. My parents, even to the fact that the doctor told my mother I wouldn't survive, so on my birth certificate, they never put a name. So even on my name, it's every time I see my name printed on something, I thank God that he always had a calling for my life, that he always knew the plan for my life, even when the doctor said I wouldn't make it. My parents continued getting high, so by the age of 11, I had 2 sisters that ended up getting pregnant at a young age, 13 to 14 years old. In Chicago, it was kind of like a man eat man world, so they pretty much came to me and they was like, hey, B, we hungry. I went to one of my big cousins on the block and I told him like, hey man, we hungry. I thought he was gonna take us to McDonald's or maybe to the grocery store, but instead he took me on the block of 43rd and Calumet and he gave me 20 rocks of cocaine. I was like, man, I'm not that hungry. He was like, this is how you'll never go hungry for the rest of your life. So I started selling for him, and I came back for more. Man, I was able to buy me and my sisters, everybody, some big old cheeseburgers that we ate good that night, you know. But he was right, man. It taught me a hustle. And in Chicago is a little different. See, in Montgomery, you can sell drugs anywhere. In Chicago, every block belongs to a gang, whether it's GDs, BDs, Vice Lords, every block belongs to a gang. So you got to start gang banging in order to sell on somebody's turf. And so I joined GD, and at 11 years old, I was selling rocks, but I was selling for someone else. So every dime bag of cocaine I would sell, I would get $2 for the $10 bag that I would sell. And so I was like, man, I already know how to cook the dope. I'm watching him cook it. I could just buy my own 8-ball and become my own boss. And so at 11 years old, I became my own entrepreneur, and I started selling drugs for myself. Had a little crew with me, man, a guy named June and a guy named Piggy. And June was just a little different, you know, than I was. He didn't want to wait on the block for customers to come and buy drugs or whatever. He wanted to just take whatever he wanted. So one day he asked me, he like, man, look, I need a lookout guy. And I was like, well, hey, I ain't got nothing going on. I'll be the lookout guy. I thought that he was really just kind of going in the store to just kind of steal stuff like he usually and take stuff, but this time he took a gun. And so without 10 minutes of being outside, I heard 2 shots, boom, boom. And I thought June had shot Mr. Chin, but when I went in, it was the opposite way around, and June was laying in a puddle of his own blood. So at 12 years old, I had to respect death for the first time because, like, I heard about it, I heard about death, and, I seen it on TV, but I never experienced being with someone, and then within seconds, they don't even exist anymore. Then I had to go and tell his mother, Ms. Rose, she no longer have a son anymore, and just kind of watch her just be beaten down, and so I became real bitter. I started gang banging harder. I moved on 79th and Loomis, and this was a school where on 79th, it was all GDs, and on 80th, it was Blackstones. So right in the middle, that middle block, we would always fight for this territory, even though none of our mothers owned any property here. We were just fighting each other. I still don't get it, and they still happen to this day. It's crazy, but we was just basically staying where our parents could afford. But every day we would fight until somebody would get shot, every single day. And at 13 years old, that was my day. I was outside gang banging, me and my sister, and heard a couple shots, and we started running, but I felt something really hard hit my chest. And I just thought it was a hard rock. I'm like, they throwing rocks out here too? And I was running though, and my sister turned around and she was like, B, you hit. And I just saw my shirt covered in blood, and I just passed out. I just fainted. And when I woke up in the hospital, my mother or my father wasn't there. It was my 7th grade teacher, Ms. Nash. And my mother had a friend to kind of move to Montgomery, Alabama. She moved to Montgomery, and she moved to some apartments, some projects called Gibbs Village. And so she reached out to my mother, and she was like, girl, what is you still doing in Chicago? These projects down here look like condos. You better get on down here, girl. And so my mother ended up taking a little vacation, ended up coming down here for a couple of months, getting her a place, got her a place in Tulane Court. And 14 years old, I moved to Montgomery, Alabama. I ended up going to a school called McIntyre. I went there for 2 weeks. I ended up getting into 3 fights, and I got put out. Then they told me, like, you don't even live over here nowhere. You live in Tulane Court. You better go to Houston Hill. So I went to Houston Hill, and I made it there 3 months, and I ended up getting kicked out of there. And when they kicked me out of MPS all the way around. So I had to go to an alternative school called Project Upward. And when I got there, I didn't know what was going on because it's like, I'm seeing the head guy, he's like 6 feet, 6'5", 270. I'm just a huge guy. And people running up trying to fight him, he's just knocking them out. I'm like, what did y'all bring me to? And when I was there, he was like, he sat me down in his office, and he was like, I heard you this tough guy from Chicago, like to fight. He was like, I'm gonna let you know one thing. And see, I can't even say what he said because this ain't no non-cursing atmosphere, but he was like, we don't play that here. I'll knock your little fat butt out, And so I was like, okay, cool. But not only that, he would bring me back into his office and he would say, hey man, you bigger than this. You better than that, man. I see potential in you. You smarter than these guys. And he would kind of, pour into my life. And I would kind of be like, oh, I am? What you see that I don't see? But that was kind of like, just a good person kind of from the outside kind of, shedding light into me. And so I liked the school so much that I ended up getting kicked out again my 11th grade year going back. And when I went there, my 11th grade year, I went back to Robert E. Lee my 12th grade year. And they told me that none of my credits would count because I went back to this alternative school. So the first day of my 12th grade year, I dropped out of high school. I ended up meeting a young lady, and we ended up, I ended up going to Job Corps, where I got my GED and trade in culinary arts. Who would ever thought that I would be using culinary arts at all? But I went there, man, and I met a young lady, and we ended up moving to Florida. When I moved to Florida, I started selling drugs, but on a bigger scale this time. Ended up getting 2 felonies, getting arrested 2 times, and one of the charges was with a weapon. And they was doing this 10-20 life gun thing in Florida where if you committed a crime with the gun, it was 10 years. If the gun went off, it was 20 years. If the gun hit someone, it's 25 years. And so they came to me, and the first deal was like, hey, we'll throw out the other drug charges, man. Hey, you just plead to this in 10 years and we'll be good. And I'm like, 10 years in prison? I've never been there a day in my life. Like, is there any way I could take a tour or something, before I make that decision, or stand there like 2 weeks or something, That's a big decision to make. And I was like, God, I heard a lot about you. Seen a lot of people running, talking in tongues, falling all over the place. If you exist, I could really use you in my life right now because I really can't do this alone. And he took his time just to say, son, I got you. That was all I heard was, son, I got you, right? And I ended up giving the system 2 years of my life with jail and prison and probation. But when I was there, it was a really good place for me to learn who I was. What's my purpose for life? God, why did you create me? And why was my childhood so jacked up? And he was like, son, because I got a purpose for you. I need you to go back and try to redirect as many youth as you can find that was going down that same path that led you down. And I need you to redirect them so they don't make the same decision that you made and end up in the same place that you made. And so I was like, man, great. Well, I'm going to do this at, like, Scenic Highway or just definitely somewhere in Florida. And he was like, no, you going back to Montgomery, Alabama. I was like, hold up, the devil is a liar. Like, no, I rebuked that because I had already said I'm never going back to Montgomery. And I ended up talking to my lady the next morning on the phone. I ended up calling her and I was like, hey, like, she was like, hey, you would never believe this. I had the weirdest dream ever. And so I was like, what was the dream? She was like, we moved back to Montgomery, Alabama. I was like, so I knew it was God, you know, and I still wasn't even ready to go because I was still doing so much. Like when I got to Florida, I got involved with a guy and he would throw these massive parties, like, I mean, huge parties. And it was just like open sex, everything, and it was an $8 million mansion. And he came to me because he wanted a kilo of cocaine every party. And it was easy for me because he gave me the money. He gave me $30,000 cash to go and pay for it, and I was getting it for $20,000. So I would make $10,000 every transaction. It was hard for me to walk away. To what? What am I walking to in Montgomery? I don't know what's there, you know, but I knew that when he said it was time to go, the relationship that we built, it was like, it's time to go. Because I couldn't give up that life there. Even when I got out, the guy called me, he was like, I heard you out, hey. And I'm in my heart, like, I promised I'd never go back there, but hey, you know. And I ended up getting all my resources squashed for me, so I had to move back to Montgomery, Alabama. I ended up moving back here, and I moved in, I got a house in Chisholm in the neighborhood. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm here now. Like, what do I need to do? I'm here, I'm ready to serve. And 12 years ago, when I moved back to Montgomery, Alabama, I went to the Chisholm Community Center in my neighborhood, and I seen a guy there, his name was Mr. Jonathan. I was like, look, man, I'm trying to serve. What can I do to get involved in my community? He was like, man, we need coaches. And I never coached a day in my life. I'm like, hey, sign me up. I'm ready. Let's go. Because I played basketball. I feel like I could do it, you know. I started coaching 12 years ago, man, and I thought I was doing exactly what God wanted me to do. I was winning some games, we was losing some games, even went to the championship game. Until my 4th year in, I had a young guy to come, and he was in 11th grade. I mean, he was 11 years old, and he had tattoos on his arm. And I was like, man, this is going to definitely be a really interesting ride. He stopped coming to practice. And when he stopped coming to practice, I was like, hey, y'all, man, anybody seen Nendo? They're like, coach, you ain't heard? His brother got killed last week trying to rob somebody in Pecan Grove. Like, I was like, well, man, I got to reach out to him. He ended up coming to practice about 4 days later, and when he came to practice, he was like, hey, coach, I need you to come outside. I'm like, nah, man, come on inside, man, come talk to me. He's like, nah, coach, for real. I need you to come outside. And so I went outside, and I was like, what's going on, man? He was like, hey, coach, hey, what can I have my gun? I don't want to bring my gun in the gym and disrespect the gym like that. Where can I put my gun at? So I was like, well, man, definitely over there. You know, gonna put it down over there. But afterwards, you know, I want to make sure that I take you home. I want to talk to you, man. I want to talk to your mom. And so he was like, okay, cool, we can. I told him, you know, get his gun and come on. Because I don't even supposed to be around guns. So I'm like, hold on, man. You jeopardizing both our life right now. But he got in the car, and I was like, man, what's up with you and these guns? What's up with you and this gun? He was like, coach, you'll never understand what we go out here, what we go through out here in these streets. Coach, you'll never understand. I was like, boy, you'll be surprised at what I understand. And so we got to his house, and, you know, he was knocking on the door. You can hear people like, man, who was that, man? Who was that, man? Put that up. And so he told them who he was. They opened up the door, and he went in the back and searched for his mother. And while he was in the back and searched for his mother, you know, I could see the group of guys in there. They all smoking, drinking. They got drugs on the table, kind of, you know, separating it for sale, and huge guns under the table. And he came and he was like, coach, my mom not here, but this is my auntie. Can you talk to my auntie? She's about 19 years old. I'm like, hey, I'm the coach over here at Chisholm. I'm just trying to get his birth certificate before the first game, and and as I was talking to her, the guys came up and they started groping and feeling all on, like, man, who was you? Man, you got some money? What you got? What you got, bro? So I'm like, look, I'm just the coach over here at Chisholm, man. I'm just trying to get his birth certificate. So they got real aggressive, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna leave, right? But whenever his mother come, make sure that she come talk to me. I want to just tell her to give me a call so I can talk to her about some things. As I was leaving, he ran outside and he was like, Coach, hey, Coach. He like, man, please don't leave me here, Coach. He like, these are the same guys that was with my brother when he got killed, Coach, and they had guns and everything, Coach. They let him die in the street, Coach. Take me with you. Let me live with you, Coach. So I was like, whoa. Like, what do I do in this situation? Because I know there's no way I could bring you, like, home to my house and bring all this drama here. And I know I just can't leave you here to die either. So as he was waiting on this porch for an answer, I got in my car, and I just started crying, man. I just started bawling like a little girl. I just started crying, and I was like, God, like, what have you done to me? You put me in this position that I'm not even ready for. And he reminded me of a promise that I made. Because, see, my partner, June, I watched him get murdered at 12 years old. He never get a second chance at life. Again, he never get to have a wife, kids. He never get to see Jamaica. He never get to meet my wife. He never get to meet my kids. But I made a promise that if I could ever change another young person's life, I'd do that. Because that day I wasn't a leader. I could have told him not to go to the store that day. I could have told him to do something, but I never did. And for that, he'll never get this opportunity that I get to stand before y'all and speak. And so God was like, now you get it. Instead of you teaching young men how to win a basketball game, teach them how to win in life. Be their coach in life. Guide them in the way that they need to go. And because I thought I was being a mentor, but I didn't even know where he lived. I didn't even know he was dying every day. And so that was a shame on me because I thought I was doing what I was supposed to be doing because I was with him for 2 hours and we was kind of winning some games. So Nendo became our very first mentee. God was like, now I need you to definitely open up the doors and teach him how to win in life. And so I was like, well, God, how do I do that? I have no high school diploma. I got 2 felonies and I work at Olive Garden. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I really didn't feel like I had a lot of options. And so we started a mentoring program with Nendo being my very first mentee. And he would help me pick out names, and we picked out something, and we had about 15 young guys, and we were strong. We were just meeting at the Chisholm Community Center, and we were, reading the Bible and actually doing just a lot of cool things. And every time that I would try to do something with them, I would have to work at the Olive Garden. Every time I would say, hey, we taking a men's trip, we're going there, I would have to work at the Olive Garden. And so I was like, well, God, if this is my calling, can you at least talk to the managers? Or can you give me something of my own? And he was like, well, what about hot dog carts? You seen a lot of them in Chicago. Do you see any down here? And I was like, I don't. He was like, try it out. So I rallied my whole family together, and I was like, hey, y'all, we got to start a hot dog stand downtown and call down to the city of Montgomery. And they just really didn't have the same goals that I had because the guy I talked to over business licenses, he laughed. And he said, that would never happen. That's not the direction we're trying to go in downtown Montgomery. So he just killed my dreams. I was like, man, what the? I had to go back to my family like, y'all, I missed it on that one. Like, this is probably not going to happen. They're not trying to go in that direction. I don't want to go over the time, so let me know when it's time to wrap it up. So I started working downtown, and I saw how downtown was progressing. I was walking downtown, it's like, you can get a drink anywhere. You don't even have to go into a bar now. It's like they raised up a window. It's like, hey, Long Island nice tea, here we go. I was like, hold on. They can do that, but I can't sell no hot dogs down here. So I had to go before everybody in the mirror, and he was like, well, I don't think there's no restrictions. And so I was like, well, you know what, I'm about to try. And I went back down there and was like, well, sir, it is something that you can do to actually do it, but you got to, like, fulfill all of this. And so I was like, but I can do it? It was like, yeah, if you can fulfill all that, hey, nobody never brought it back. And so I went on, and it took me about a year to try to fulfill this status stuff. And I was like, you know what, I see why nobody ever done it. I quit, it's too much, they win. And as soon as I quit, I got in the car, and there was a song playing. It was a Mary Mary song. It was like, go get your blessing, go get it. So I was like, that's got to be for me. I'm not going to stop. And so it took me about 6 more months, and I ended up kind of getting everything where I needed to. And when I went there, they told me, okay, man, wow, you brought all this back. Sound off on everything. Okay, now you just got to go to the same guy that told me that it would never happen. I was like, why didn't y'all tell me that from the jump? He already told me it wasn't going to happen. I went back there to kind of get him to sign that he was on vacation and his assistant had to sign off for it. So that's how I became the first hot dog stand downtown. That's my dog, Montgomery. Yeah, that's pretty dope. And to even just bore y'all a little bit more, there's even a testimony behind that because he was pissed off that I got in. He called me when he got back from vacation. He was like, hey, you lucky I was on vacation. Or I would have sent you packing just like the rest of them. And I was like, well, sir, I hope you had the best vacation ever. And he started harassing me. Every single day, he would be on his car or he'd be in there like, boy, didn't I tell you can't have this? Boy, didn't I tell you can't have that? And I was just like, wow. Like, didn't nobody just tell him I just got out of prison not too long? I'll shake money. No, I was just saying. But I was just like, so he was just, every day I would see him turning around or he would be on this corner. And I'm like, I gotta be the smallest business in this city. Why is he harassing me? And he'd become, boy, didn't I tell you? And I was just like, you know what, I ain't had enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sue the whole city of Montgomery on his behalf. Like, this is clearly harassment. And so in order for me to do that, I had to try to go back downtown and read every single literature I could that what they had was on there. I was like, let me get all my paperwork back. I gotta read. And in the reading, when he came back out there, he was like, boy, didn't I tell you to get them chairs out of here? And I was like, sir, I just want to make sure we're on the same page, right? But if you read right here, page 6-5, code 7, right? It says that I can't have anything on this card that's not attached to this card that pertains to sales. Well, sir, I'm not trying to sell these seats. I'm just trying to sit down for the day. When I slow, he read it. All right, keep the seats. Then they were doing a little work on Dexter Avenue, and I had to go around the corner. He came, he said, boy, pack this up right now. Didn't I tell you can't have those? And I packed my stuff on up, and I went back to his office. What you need now, Mr. Lee? I just want to make sure we're on the same page. But if you look right here, no, you know it can't be on Washington. All right, sit back up. Now, one time, no apology or nothing. And so downtown, they started, getting the party scene, the club scene. And at 10 o'clock at night, they was telling me I had to pack up. And I was like, I got to pack up, but they don't come down here and drink until 10, And I was like, I don't have the opportunity to give them a good hot dog whenever they leave so they don't get a DUI. And I started pleading that case. And so I went to zoning, and they was like, well, you could do that, but you would have to rewrite the whole downtown vending ordinance. I was like, but I could do that. They was like, yeah, you could do it. It's going to take a little work. So I had to go before zoning, before the county commission, the mayor, the city councilman. And when I was there with the mayor and all of them trying to get it approved because everybody thought it was a good idea, because why not give these people, they're down there drinking until 2 o'clock, all the restaurants close at 11 o'clock, why not give somebody the opportunity before they get in the car and drinking all night to get a hot dog so they don't get your DUI before they go on their merry way? And so they was like, hey, good idea with me. So they was like, hey, they called the same guy. I'm like, who invited him? Like, who? So he came up there and they was like, so what do you think? And I don't even want to say his name because he might be here tonight, or y'all might be related to him, so I ain't gonna even say his name. But he was like, what do you think? And he said, well, one thing I can tell you is, not only does Mr. Lee know all the rules for the downtown vending ordinance, he followed all the rules for the downtown vending ordinance. And so right now, if you go on 25th in Washington under business license under the downtown vending ordinance, you'll see the boy with no name, Charles Lee's signature. And that's how God definitely worked, because I thought that he was definitely down to tear me down. But now when the city of Montgomery is trying to do some outside vending, the first person they call is me. And so that's how God worked. That's just a little bit of black history for y'all if y'all ain't know that right there. But so after we went with the That's My Dog and we started making the name and everybody was like, wow, I like this guy's story. I like this guy. So God was like, now it's time for you to go back and definitely deal with my ministry, what I called you to. And so we started That's My Child. That's My Child is a mentoring group. We mentor through entrepreneurship, workforce development, arts, and education. And we mentor a lot of young people because we call it That's My Child because a lot of times you might see a young guy on the corner. His pants might be sagging, might always be in trouble, and you know what you do? You ride right past him. You know why? Because that's not your son. But what if it was? What if that was your son and you happen to pass away or you happen to lose it yourself or to be on drugs or something? Wouldn't you want someone to stop and say, hey, young man, I see you sagging. Is there any way I can offer you a belt? Hey, I see you stealing. Are you hungry? Is there any way I can help feed you? Because that's what I would want somebody to do for my son, right? And so doing that, we started in 2012 and we was working at the Chisholm Community Center just really kind of grinding that hard and God blessed us with our forever home at the end of 2017. We were able to get us a nice little location on site. And so we were able to mentor over 800 young students in these last 7 years, of kids that never thought they might go to college, of kids that never thought they might make it to the military, of kids that just never thought they'd finish high school, kids that was just barely trying to survive for the day, right? We were able to see a lot of young men, especially the young man that I was talking about, Nindo. Nindo ended up graduating from Lee High School this last graduation, and he's headed to Auburn University. So War Eagle, for any of you out there, you know, and that's a good thing for him. And what the ministry has done for me personally, right? My sisters, the one I told you I got pregnant at young ages, both of my sisters are mentors there. They make sure that other young girls don't get pregnant as well. My mother, every single child that comes there, right, they call her Grandma Lee. And my father has always been touchy, right? But I say my father, my father's right there today, y'all. And if y'all ever go downtown, so my father, he always be like, look, tell your story. Don't be trying to tell my story, you know what I'm saying? But I thank God for the relationship that we have today. My father, he came back down to Montgomery, about a year ago. And I feel like no matter what you've been through, I thank God that we have the relationship that we do today. Because a lot of people go through things and they begin to have bitter in their heart, and their fathers end up passing away before things were salvaged. But I have an opportunity right now today to hang out with my father. And today happens to be his birthday, right? And so when we first got here, when we first got here, that guy right there, right? So he had a couple dollars on, and then my father, he's like, "What's your birthday?" or something. You know, we country, so we do stuff like this for our love. You know, we want you to know it's our birthday. Like, hey, bless me if you can. You know, and as soon as we got out, like, you know, a guy was like, "Man, it's your birthday?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "I got 20 and I got a 1. Like, what you want?" I'm like, "Man, you get to choose. Like, if that was my money, you get the dollar. Go and have a good day." But he hit him with the 20. He had an opportunity to just get him with the dollar. But he don't know how proud he made my father. You know, he made his whole day. He was like, "Oh my God, this is awesome. I'm glad I came. Happy birthday," you know. And so whenever y'all get an opportunity, definitely stop by. Even if you don't bless him with anything, shake his hand, because that's my dad. No matter what I've been through, I would be nothing without him, you know, because without him, it wouldn't be no story, and it wouldn't be no Charles Lee. Secondly, one thing that I would want y'all to do is come by our center. If y'all had the opportunity to take out y'all phone, that would be awesome. I would love to give y'all the information. If y'all on Facebook, right, like us at That's My Child. We also have a website, and he said he records, so y'all can definitely feed it back, right, so y'all can come. And the website is that'smychildmgm.org. Again, it's that'smychildmgm.org. One thing that we can use is you guys' support, because we can't do this on our own. We're able to I just want y'all to come by and check out what God has blessed us with. We have a really, really awesome campus where we're able to do some amazing things. Every day we're able to offer after-school tutoring. Kids that don't have a computer, they can come right in our computer lab, and they can come and they can research, and they can do ACT prep, where they can do ASVAB prep, where they can definitely do prep for their driver license, and their mother don't have to take the time to get off work and go to the library. And then they could definitely come to our place. We got a Teen to Work program, right? And so have any one of y'all heard of That's My Dawg Jr.? Oh my God, where have y'all been? Shame on y'all. Well, I'm glad y'all let her. I'm glad y'all invited me here tonight. Thank you so much. So we was able to start the first ever teenage ran restaurant in Alabama called That's My Dawg Jr. That's My Dawg Jr. is a teen and managed, operated restaurant where every single person in that restaurant is a teenager. Our general manager is 16 years old. Our marketing manager is 16 years old. Our assistant manager is 16 years old. Every single person in that establishment are teenagers. And we're trying to show them they could be empowered. We don't want you to have to wait or have to have no excuses. We had a Teen to Work program that we were showing young kids, like, hey, all of my teenagers said, "I want a job." They didn't tell me they want to rob or kick in doors, but that's what they usually resort to. You know why? Because trying to find a job is so out of their reach. In order to get a job, first you got to have transportation. Then you got to have nice clothes for the interview. Then you got to speak well. You got to act like you know what you're talking about. And that just kind of seems like, oh my God, it's too much. But what does seem obtainable, what seems so tangible, is right here in my neighborhood. I can sell drugs right here. I don't need fancy clothes. I don't need a fancy conversation. I can just sell drugs right here. And I can kick in the door. I can break somebody's house in this same neighborhood. Because all of it is in my reach. I don't need any of those things. So what we want to do is we want to challenge that. We wanted to make sure that you knew that getting the job was very easy. And so we take them to a 3-week program. But after our 3-week program, people wasn't hiring our kids. We're like, hey, y'all don't want to take a shot at them? Look, they went through these 3 weeks and they did amazing. So we was like, you know what? We'll hire them ourselves. And so we decided to open up a restaurant that was ran entirely by them, to give them all the management skills they'll need, so when they go to the next level and graduate from high school, they'll be able to kind of run somebody else's kitchen, and they can go to college if they can afford it, but if they can't, they can still get a nice, decent wage. We want to make sure that all of our workers know about work experience. We also got a place in the back where we want to teach them about entrepreneurship. But all of these things can only happen as if we come together as a community. And so I thank y'all for definitely giving me the opportunity and this platform to speak. And I think that's really all I had to say. Y'all have been really, really awesome. Nobody's fell asleep yet. That's a plus. I see somebody yawning, so that was kind of like a wrap it up sign. But I really appreciate y'all. But I challenge each and every one of you all. Each and every one of you all. Even if not in my community, get involved in somebody's life. You know who that person is that you ride and complain about every day. See what their needs are. See what their needs are. And if you can't find nobody in your community, come to my community. Because I got a group of young brothers there could use somebody to love on them and say, you know what? No matter what you've been through, young man, it's going to be okay. I got your back. I'm here to walk you through this. Let's do life together. I invite you guys to come there. And if you guys can't make it, look, that same website I gave y'all, just donate. That'll make a difference too. Because if y'all could donate, y'all can definitely help people that's in the community every day without resources. Because that's what we need. So that was my time, y'all. And I don't know what else I'm supposed to do after this, but thank y'all. If y'all have any questions, I don't know this. Okay.
Guys, y'all can have a seat. I'm going to talk for a minute, but I want to tell you something, and then I want to pray with this brother. My wife and I heard about a program that they do at That's My Dawg Jr. That's sort of a pay it forward program. If you've heard about Bibb Street Pizza, they have a buy a slice of pizza and pay it forward. And the same guy went over and put together a 411 plan. Mm-hmm. And I remember it by that because I'll challenge you to go look up chapter 4, verse 11 and see how many of those scriptures speak to the program of taking care of others. And so for 411, you can get a hot dog, chips, and a drink. And write a little Post-it note and stick it up on the wall. And I don't tell you that story because I did it. I just wanted to. But I wanted to go try a hot dog at this teenage run place. And so my wife and I went over on a Saturday. And by the way, and he's got a lot of good hot dogs, but I'm going to tell you, he's got the Bomb Daddy Kaneka dog. I mean,
yeah, my dog.
Guys, you need to go. You need to go if nothing for the Kaneka dog because it was the best. But I thought I went over there that Saturday to do my part and pay it forward and, buy somebody a meal that maybe couldn't. I thought I went over there to enjoy a good hot dog, and I was. I mean, it was great. But I got up and walked over to Charles in the middle of a visitor and just gave him a card and said, hey, we'd like you to come out for the steak dinner and come see what we're doing. And I don't know what started the conversation, but as Charles started giving his testimony and telling me his story, and he may not have given every word he did to me, but as he told his story, tears welled up in my eyes because I felt God talking to me and saying, man, you didn't come for a hot dog. I sent you over here to meet Charles Lee. I sent you over here and so I reached over and touched Charles on the shoulder and I said, I thought I came for a hot dog today, but you're supposed to speak to our men next month. And then he told me a little bit more about his dad. And he said, can I bring my dad with me? And I went, man, it's 2 days after Father's Day. Absolutely. And he said, wait, June 18th? That's my daddy's birthday. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, Lord, you ain't got to hit me any harder. I got this one. I got it. So I'm just thankful that this just worked out for Charles to be able to come and share with us. And when I get up here and talk about letting the Lord lead this thing, guys, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to listen to Him. I'm trying to listen to the one who does know. And I appreciate you being here. And let me tell you this, there's no mistake. There's no just by chance that you're here tonight. You're here tonight because he saw fit for you to be here tonight and for you to gather something. And this brother can use our help. It was interesting after I heard his what I'm going to call his testimony, his life story. He took me for a tour of That's My Child. And I saw some guys that are part of our group interviewing teenagers and working to make a difference. So, but there's more of you in this room that can chip in and do something to help. And let's look up that site. Let's connect with Charles and see what we can do. Hey, and go over and eat a connect a dog.
They're my dog.
Yes, sir. 411 buys a meal. It's sort of a pay it forward. Gets a hot dog, chips, and a drink, and you write a little Post-it note, stick it on the wall, and when somebody comes in that can't afford a meal, then take that Post-it note down and trade it in for a meal. But in the Bible, look up, just Google, do some searching of scriptures that are chapter 4, verse 11, and it was amazing. It really was. So I want to pray over him, and then we're going to close with a few remarks.
The address to the facility is 2414 Lower Wetumpka Road. So it's 2414 Lower Wetumpka Road. It's just minutes up from downtown. And you will see it because the whole community is so dead with abandoned homes, abandoned businesses, empty lots. But then God bless us with just a burst of energy and colors and light. So we're easy to find.
Another question back there. Absolutely.
Oh, can I record it? His name is Charles too. So it's funny because my name is Charles by default because I don't have a name on my birth certificate. So we just wrote with my dad, and it was like his name Charles.
Come up here, Dad.
Let's make it a Charles. Come on up. Hey, somebody, oh, we got to record it right here.
All right, this is gonna be out of tune a little bit. Let's see. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charles. Happy birthday to you.
Play ball. Thank you.
All right, let's pray.
Pop, come back up and pray.
Father, we just thank you. We just thank you for bringing Charles and Charles our way. Father, we can take our messed up lives, and all of us are messed up vessels. We're all sinners, but by your grace and mercy, you sent your Son to clean us up, to wash us clean, and to use us, Father. And I'm just so thankful for the way that you're using Charles, that you're blessing That's My Child, that you're making a difference in the lives of teenagers, that you've equipped him through his experiences, Father, to be able to reach these kids, to know where they are. And Father, I'm just so blessed that Charles shared his story with me, and that he had the opportunity tonight to share it with these men. I pray these men's hearts have been touched, but I think, Father, I pray more that their hearts are touched, but that they're moved to help in whatever way you call them to step up. Father, we love you, and we're just so thankful that you love us so much that you gave your Son for our lives, and that we have an opportunity to be in eternity with you. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Hey, so can I have one request? Is there any way we can all take a picture together? Y'all just look so good. You know, I want to make sure we remember the moment. I don't know if that's against protocol or nothing, but if we can all.
No, probably just stand right there,
all right,
and
cool.
We'll knock one out.
Yeah, this is easier, a lot easier than I was thinking.
Yeah, we're going to get real tight.
Maybe not so easy.
As long as you get inside the projector here, and come on, next side.
Come on in.
That's my dog.
Come on in.
Back up more. Yeah. I'd like to. Okay. Show me how. Come over here and tell me how to do it. All right, 1,
That's my dog.
2, 3.
That's my dog.
Awesome, guys.
Thank y'all so much. Might need
All
to take
right, guys, just a couple more things before you break up. Nancy, hand me those papers in the chair. When we break, if you could take your chairs and put them back in there at the tables, that will help us a lot. I'm going to tell you just a couple of things real quick. If you want to have a seat, I promise I won't keep you long. We don't advertise a lot of things that happen just because we could be here all night. But the ministry that we patterned ourselves after, that I fell in love with in L.A., no, that's not Los Angeles, it's Lower Alabama. The group that I fell in love with down there, they're the Ironworks Men's Ministry. They are having a conference. They do it every year. Anthony's got it up there for you, August 2nd and 3rd. Guys, I really encourage you to go and try to be a part of this. It's $25. If that's a problem, let me know. We'll work through that part. But there'll be, I went down last year, there were 800 men gathered in the Kiwanis Agri Center down there. Some of you in this room have been down there. It's an amazing event. It's Friday evening and then Saturday till noon. And it's so worth it. Some of the best tailgating you'll ever have if you go down a little early. But the speakers this year, 2 of them are personal friends of mine. They didn't ask me, it just worked out that way. But Dr. Jeff Kemp, who I hope will come and speak with us one day, when budgets will allow. But Dr. Jeff Kemp is going to be a part of that. And Dr. Michelle Watson, you think a woman at a men's conference? This woman is from Portland, Oregon. My brother Dawg hails from Portland. Oh, we've got another Oregonian. They refer to her as the Dad Whisperer. And she has a fantastic relationship with her dad. And she's able to speak into men's life from a women's perspective, especially about dads and daughters. So I encourage you to go and try to be a part of that. We'll put this information on our Facebook page and hopefully give you some more information. And now to toot the horn for one of our own, and I hope he's still in here. He is. Alpha Farmers Federation recognized recently or had a contest for the best peach cobbler. So I'm going to give a shout out for you to go to and have some award-winning peach cobbler. But here's our man, our steak cooker, the lead man. There's a picture of Danny Lofton from Fat Boys in here for award-winning peach cobbler. And I'm guilty of participating in that before, so I can tell you. And us fat boys know how to judge fat boys, you know what I'm saying? I work on this physique. So, guys, I want to share one more thing with you, and then we'll pick up chairs. Actually, Anthony will come and lead us in our closing song, part of our tradition. But I want just a couple of minutes. I've been blessed for a number of years, and I'll keep this story real short. But I shared the Kendrick Brothers film Facing the Giants with my best friend back in 2006, I think. And God has placed me in some unique places to be involved since then, with Fireproof, with Courageous, with War Room. And when people ask me what I do, this is my passion. But right now, God's placed me in a place where I'm paying my bills by working on a little movie coming out this fall called Overcomer. And it's about identity. And when I thought the Kendrick Brothers couldn't do better than War Room, some of you are nodding your heads. You know they raised the bar. And I'm going to tell you, this movie, the first time I saw it, just nailed me, and it changed me. I'll tell you real quick the way it changed me. If you say, pray for me, I will no longer walk away from you. I will pray for you. If we're on the phone, if we're in a text conversation, email conversation, because we have to practice who we say we are and where is your identity. Overcomer preview.
No, I don't even like running. Don't die. Don't die. Cross country's not even a sport.
Why would anyone want to do this?
I'm just impressed that you finished. You are my best option.
Y'all ever try out?
No, sir. We're just hanging out.
Are you here for cross country?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna show up and she's got asthma.
Oh, you mean Hannah Scott. Do you enjoy running?
It's really don't. I think I'll get ahead.
We have a season of one runner.
One runner matters.
Thomas, you got time for a visit?
Hello, Coach. So you changed sports, and you still got no team. Well, that's sad even for me.
I get it. You have to coach cross country. But it's not that hard.
For someone who knows the Lord, you act like somebody who doesn't.
You give some very inspirational speeches to your players about stepping up under pressure and going the extra mile.
Hannah, get faster.